I don't think Aliu's here yet, but Aliu, I did grade some of the stuff that you submitted, and then whatever I had to send back, I did. But some of the stuff was sent empty. I don't think Aliu's here. Oh, he's not there. Okay. Ajay Fatu, I also graded whatever you sent in, and Matthew as well. Emmanuel, I haven't seen anything from you in a minute. And who else is here? You know me, I call you out if you ain't doing my work. I think that so please get this work done because you'll see how pay attention to your grades. Your grades are slowly going down because each time you get a 55 for not doing an assignment, the overall percentage goes down. And remember, it's that final grade for this course that's going to count. Not your first marking period grade. The first marking period grade was just tentative, right? The final grade is what's going to count because that's accumulation of everything you've done for this semester. So it would be a shame for you to get, 100 the first semester and a 75 or a 55 in the last semester, in the last marking period. Sorry, because we stopped doing work. So please don't do it to yourself. Who sent me something? 3 reads protocol. Somebody submitted something. All right. So last time we met, we looked at the 3 reads protocol. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I just want to remind folks what that was about. We practiced the strategy of reading a text 3 times, and each time we read it, we had to apply a particular lens or the way we looked at it. So we basically read an excerpt from a personal essay by Jesmyn Ward. And in that particular excerpt, it talked about a march that was going on around Black Lives Matter. The first time we read it, it was surface level. So we just looked at what was going on. I think for the most part, we were all able to identify that there was a march going on. Some people mentioned that the person writing it was crying, was upset, and was witnessing a march. So we all were able to summarize what we saw. The second read, that's where we had to develop the conflict. And for some of you who submitted your work, because you did not tell me what the conflict was, I sent it back with specific notes. So please make sure you respond to those notes. We had to now just talk about the conflict and how was that developed, like what particular evidence in the text supports our idea of what we think the conflict is and why. And by the time we got to the third read, by this point, we were able to just give you the central idea. What was the author trying to tell us? What was the author trying to show us? We all agree that basically she was happy, or she realized that people were sharing in the same issues that she had around Black Lives Matter, and they were marching. It was being acknowledged, right? So this was due, I think, on Monday. It was actually due, Monday. It was due right after the holidays. I asked you guys to send this in by Monday. You guys had extra days because we had community work project here on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. So you guys had 3 extra whole days to get this assignment done, and some folks still have not handed it in. So we're moving on to the next assignment. The next assignment talks about conflict development, and this particular assignment is going to be a lot of hands-on live lessons for today. And then there is an assignment that you will have to finish up on your own over the weekend. Granted, I'm going to be adding a News ELA article to this assignment, just so you're aware. It's going to be the one based on the Capitol Hill riot that took place the day before yesterday. So when you're turning in an assignment, you're going to have to turn in 2 assignments: your literary abstract assignment, as well as a News ELA article on the Capitol. Can you please give me a thumbs up or verbally say yes, so that I can ensure that you heard what I said about what needs to be turned in? So nobody heard what I said. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you,
I heard you, but I don't count.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, Matthew. I got yeses. I got thumbs up. Thank you, Ajay Fatu. Thank you. What about Alexander? Thank you, Jesus. Alexander, did you hear what I said? I'm waiting on you to respond. Give me a thumbs up, a yes, say it verbally. Did you hear what I said about what needs to be turned in? If you didn't hear me, say no, but I need a response. Alexander, that's for you. Are you there? All righty. So with that said, let's go right into the assignment. So, and for those of you who will come back to this page, I've tried to make sure I list the instructions in order what you should be doing first. So the first thing is to look at the topic sentences handout, which is day 5, where we talk about how to write a topic sentence. And then within that particular day 5 assignment, that's where we'll find the Google Slides that I put separately. And I'm going to add the News ELA article. So again, you have 2 things to hand in. The Google Slides you're not handing in. It is just part of the lesson. You're handing in the day 5 assignment along with a News ELA article that I will assign later. So let's get into it. So ultimately, you guys are going to create a literary abstract, not even an abstract, a literary essay, response essay. An abstract is a shorter version of that. It's usually like a paragraph long. Ultimately, the state requires that 10th graders be able to do an abstract, which is just beginnings of a response essay. And then when you get to 11th grade, you do an essay. However, for my class, you'll be writing an essay. You're not writing an abstract. You're not writing a paragraph. Because what I want is for you to be able to create something that shows above grade level, so that by the time you get to your 11th grade class, you will be ahead of the curve. You would have known how to do it, and you'd be able to be to just refine or enhance your writing by then, not learning how to do it by then. So bear in mind, you guys will not be doing an abstract for this class. You'll be writing an essay. And an abstract, again, is a shorter version of the essay. So, right. So this is the actual assignment that you will be doing on your own, but I want to review it first so that you can see what it entails. So basically, you're going to be reading a text written by Sandra Cisneros. Has anybody here ever heard of Sandra Cisneros? She's pretty popular. Her book that most people usually know about is The House on Mango Street. Anybody ever heard of that book before?
Nah.
Okay. So it's a collection of short memoirs, little vignettes or short stories that tell about her memories and her family and her experiences. Which is similar to Jesmyn Ward. You notice a lot of Jesmyn Ward's writings are also based on experiences, personal essays, right? So what's going to happen is you're going to be reading this section of her short story called Those Who Don't. And as you are reading it and annotating, and we know how to annotate, we highlight and choose the color. You could take the notes here. Reason why I ask you to take the notes is good readers and writers, when they read, they need to be able to jot down things that stand out, things that are important. Because you are always focusing on conflict development, you want to know what's the cause of a conflict and you want to know how it's resolved. You want to know what particular dilemma or issue that had to be solved. Those are the things you would write in your notes. Those are the things we focus on in this particular marking period.
So we're annotating.
So you're annotating, but I just want to be clear on what you're annotating.
Okay, say it again.
What you said?
Can you say it again? Just
okay. So when you're annotating, which is again, in this case, highlighting in a particular color, you choose your color. We usually use yellow. I want you to focus on the conflict development. Conflict development means what caused the conflict, right? What's the root cause of the conflict? What was the dilemma? Like what issue had to be resolved? What was the particular character going through? Was it an issue between another character? Was it an issue within themselves? Was it an issue with society? What was the dilemma? They had to make a choice. What were the 2 choices they were stuck with? Those are words we've been using this marking period. It is part of your vocabulary. I want you to be able to discuss that by making sure in your note section here on the top right hand corner, as you're reading and you find that evidence, you jot it down, you type it in. You got that? Yes, no, maybe so?
Yes.
Okay. And it's a short response. If you look, it's only this. That's it. It's not long. So you should be able to jot down in a couple lines. This was what the root cause was. This is what the dilemma was. This is how it was solved. Pretty quick and simple. Now, what you don't know or what you're not used to, at least in this class, is being able to identify, if you were to write an essay on it, if you were going to respond now to the literature, which is basically what this final writing piece will be for this unit. How do you go about doing that? What's the formula? What's the first thing I should write when I'm ready to respond to a piece of reading? This is the formula right here. You always start with a topic sentence. And when we go look at the PowerPoint in a few minutes, it's going to show you the formula that you use for a topic sentence when responding to literature. Okay? What's the first thing I'm going to write? Then what comes is the context, then the evidence, then the analysis, and then the concluding sentence. This is something we're going to be developing for the next couple of days, but this is our first attempt. In order for you to know how to write this part, we have to look at the PowerPoint together. Are you following me so far?
Yes.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
right. So this is why I wanted us to look at this first, because I want you to understand the purpose of the PowerPoint. So when we're finished looking at the PowerPoint and going through the activities together, you will come back here and complete this assignment. And by the time we go through the PowerPoint, you should be able to understand how to write your topic sentence, find out what context is for that reading, the evidence, the analysis, and the concluding sentence. Now, before we go to the PowerPoint, we need to read this particular excerpt from Sanchez Cisneros so it can help us fill in some of the blanks on the PowerPoint. So can I have a volunteer, please, to read this story? It's very short. It's called Those Who Don't.
Yeah, I got you.
Thank you, Hesse.
It said, those who don't know any better come into our neighborhood scared. They think we're dangerous. They think we'll attack them with shiny knives. They are stupid people who are lost and got here by mistake. But we aren't afraid. We know the guy with the crooked eye is Davy, the baby's brother, and that the tall one next to him is Strawberry. That's Roger's Eddie's V, and the big one that looks like a dumb grown man. He's Fat Boy, though he's not fat anymore, nor boy. All brown, all around, we are safe. But watch us drive into a neighborhood of another color, and our knees go shake, and our car windows get rolled up tight. Now our eyes look straight. Yeah, this is how it goes and goes.
Thank you. So based on that first reading, remember the 3-read protocol, what are we hearing about this neighborhood? What is the author trying to tell us about this neighborhood and people who come to the neighborhood? Can I get some responses from people?
That people think that this is stereotype around the neighborhood, so people
Yeah.
think what they think and coming into it, but it's really not like that unless you look for that. That's what he's
Exactly.
trying to say.
So he's saying that, we're like a family in our neighborhood. We have nicknames and, terms of endearment for our people who
Right.
belong here. If you come here, it's because you probably don't belong here and you feel out of place. And they would also feel out of place if they went somewhere else, right? That's what I got from that first reading. And if we were going to do the second reading, then it would become, what's the conflict that you see here? And I'm assuming it would be self versus society, right? There's a stigma around brown people of color. They mention it right here, all brown, all around, but we feel safe here. But if we went to another neighborhood where it's not all brown around, we wouldn't feel safe and we'll do the same things they do. Pull up our windows, look straight ahead, feel nervous, things of that nature. And then your third read, you would talk about the central idea, which is, each neighborhood has their idiosyncrasies, or they have their things that they love about themselves. And when you come into that particular space, you have to get used to it. You have to accept that. So I just want people to bear that in mind that we've read this. It will come in handy for the PowerPoint. You all have a copy, so I would suggest that as we are doing the PowerPoint together, because you guys won't be able to write on a PowerPoint, pull this particular thing up. Your day, I think it's day 5. You all have your name on your assignment. You can be filling this in as we go, or at the very least, you'll be able to refer to the story as we go into the PowerPoint. So again, I suggest that you pull up this particular handout on your Google Classroom when we get into the PowerPoint, so that way you'll be able to use it to help you fill out the information. All right, I'm gonna go to the PowerPoint now. Are there any questions so far? We're all good?
Yeah.
All right. So here's the PowerPoint. So it's about composing topic sentences. It's not just topic sentences. If you recall, at the bottom of the abstract sheet, you're also going to talk about analyzing the context that goes in there, how you end your abstract response. So even though it says topic sentences, it's more than just topic sentences. So let's take a look at it. All righty. Can you all see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So what are topic sentences? Why are they important? So we all know that a topic sentence usually gives the main idea of a particular section of a reading or writing. It's usually found within your body of your paragraphs, and it tells the reader what that particular paragraph is going to be about. Okay. Most times it's usually found in the first sentence, and it can be placed throughout or at the end of a paragraph as well. So just bear that in mind. Topic sentences can consist of different parts depending on the type of paragraph you're writing. So this particular acronym called TAG, that is the formula for writing a good topic sentence in a response to lit essay. TAG stands for title, author, and genre. Then you have literary devices that are going to be in place, which for us, our literary device for this marking period is the conflict development. Anything to do with what type of conflict is being highlighted, how did this conflict come about, what were the struggles that they went through, and how did they resolve it or not resolve it. That's all on the literary device. If it's an argument, we're not doing argument essay this semester, but if you were writing a persuasive essay and you had to convince people your position, your claim, all these things come after the topic sentence. So what I need people to remember is TAG, T-A-G, title, author, genre, and this will be added to your vocabulary list soon. That's the formula for your topic sentence. You start with the title of the story, you give the author, and you give the genre. So let's try it out. Jesus, you did the reading. So I'm going to ask you to sit this one out because I want to hear from others. What was the title of the story we just read? And again, you can pull up the sheet in front of you so you don't need to guess, because somebody tell me what the title of the story was.
Those Who Don't.
Those Who Don't. Thank you. And who's the author? Who's the author, guys?
Sandra Cisneros.
Cisneros. Very good. Now, genre. That gets a little sticky. Do we have any idea what kind of genre this is? Is it fiction? Is it remember that time when we first started out the particular year, we talked about what we call literary nonfiction. Anybody remember that? Where it reads like a story, but it's not made up. It was part of our introductory part of our unit or our year when we were talking about, we looked at different types of personal essays. We talked and we had the flashback moments and things of that nature. Does anybody recall that?
Yes.
Thank you. So
Flashback explains how we got to where we are in the story.
So,
that is a
flashback. So the point I'm trying to make is the genre could be seen as either a memoir, which is a remembrance of a particular moment, or some type of what we call literary nonfiction. Okay, so it is actually a depiction or a showcasing of an issue or a moment or topic, but it's written where it sounds more like a story. Okay. But it is not nonfiction. So meaning it because it has some form of dialogue or some form of elements that read like a story, it's more than just nonfiction. So tag is what I need you guys to remember. Title, author, and genre. You need to know the genre. Okay. And the genre might take a little time to figure out, but for the purposes of time, for this particular reading, it was a memoir where she's giving you a moment of a memory of how things are seen in her neighborhood. Okay. All right, well, only let me go to the next one. Okay. So these are numbered in the order in which we should be getting our assignment done today, or at least our thinking going. We're going to look at a model. We're going to try to process this model. We're going to try it out, and then we're going to give some feedback, revise, and rewrite. So here's an example today. We'll be writing a topic sentence about the vignettes from House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros. Our topic sentences needs to include the below components. Observe the examples below as models. So again, tag is your topic sentence. It has title, author, genre. Then the literary device. And I told you the literary device for this particular reading is the conflict that's going on in that particular vignette or short memoir. And then what was the central idea? What was she trying to tell you? I said that she's trying to tell us that although other people might feel afraid of our neighborhood or not accept our neighborhood, or there's stereotypes around the people in our neighborhood, we love ourselves. We love each other. We feel like a family, and people should accept that. That's what I got. Does anybody agree with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Respect needs to be reciprocated, definitely.
Perfect. So respect needs to go both ways. Don't assume, right? Don't have stereotypes. All these phrases come under central idea based on what you've gathered. So here's an example. In the vignette, those who don't, and vignette again is a very short story or a very short caption of or a piece of what the whole story. In the vignette, Those Who Don't by Sandra Cisneros, the writer uses the juxtaposition of different neighborhoods to develop the central idea. Juxtaposition is a fancy word for she takes two point of views or two stories or two sides and puts them next to each other in a way for you to understand. So if you notice, she talks about her neighborhood and then she talks about the other neighborhood, right? If they were to go to another neighborhood. And that way you're able to see the conflict and see what the struggle is. All right. She uses that to develop the central idea that a lack of knowledge can cultivate fear in humans. So the central idea that they're saying here is that by not having knowledge about another group, by having these assumptions about another group, by having these stereotypes about another group, your response is usually not friendly, or you feel very uncomfortable, or you tend to copy things that are not okay, that gives off a vibe that you don't like the other group. All right. Sandra Cisneros uses word choice, particularly around the pronoun they. Now, you guys have never noticed it, but when folks are discussing a group and they say they or them, it usually gives a negative connotation, usually gives a negative vibe. If I say we or our brothers and sisters or us, or are you actually say the women or the men or the students, it doesn't feel as negative. Do you notice that? Anybody notice that? I don't know if you guys are responding. I don't hear anything. I don't see anything.
Yes.
Okay. But when you use words like they, them, other, it tends to create this tone or this feeling of they don't belong with me. They're on the outside. They're less than me, or I don't like those people. All right. So you create like a distance between you and another group. So They're mentioning here that the word choice is one of the literary devices that she uses. For us, we're going to focus on conflict, but these are the little things that you will notice come up. And as you guys start to write more response to literature pieces, these things will be popping up that you'll be paying attention to as you become better writers, okay? So let's talk it out. We're not going to create a screencastify, but let's see if we can together speak about some things that we would have written down. So Matthew, what would be the topic sentence for the reading that we just did? Remember, topic sentence is tag. So, and I think we just did it together, but I'm just seeing if people are paying attention. Matthew, what is the topic sentence for the story we just read? If you're speaking, Matthew, I can't hear you.
Those who do not.
All right, so those who don't is the title. Good. But what I want is a topic sentence. Remember earlier we talked about topic sentence being what we call tag, T-A-G. Title, as well as the author, as well as the genre. So you gave me part of it, those who don't, but who is the author?
Come again, please.
Who's
The author is
Who's the author? Who wrote it? You said her name a few times. Sandra Cisneros, very good.
Sandra Cisneros.
Right, and what is the genre? What type of reading is this? Anybody know?
I think you said memoir.
Memoir, right? Yes, I think a short version of a memoir. It's a memory, right? It's kind of like a personal essay, but it's focused on one particular moment, right?
Yeah.
Very good. That's a tag. Now, what are some examples of components that can be included in a topic sentence? So we don't have to go over that, but we've already said what that is. We gave the specific example for this story. And why is it important to have a strong topic sentence? And that's not written anywhere. This is where you have to think. Why would it be important for us to give that information from the beginning? Why is it important to start out with a good topic sentence? Anybody? Why do you need to introduce this background information when you start writing? Come on, you're not going to get in trouble for your responses. I just want to hear from you. Why would I, as a writer, need to tell you some background information about my writing when I start writing it? What's the purpose of that?
So the reader can know what the story is going to be about.
Exactly. So the reader gets more information that gets them interested, right? Lets them learn something new, right? So those are reasons why it's very good. It's very important to have a strong topic sentence, right? Thank you. That wasn't so hard, was it? All right, so let's practice. Oh, sorry. So again, this is the same author, but it's a different vignette or a different memoir. It's called 4 Skinny Trees. The tag is in the right-hand corner. So the tag would be the title, the author, the genre. The literary device, again, we're going for a type of conflict. So we need to be able to figure out what type of conflict. And then what the central idea is, meaning what was the story about? What was the message that they were trying to tell us? So I'm going to read it. And I'm going to have you guys help me fill out this part. So here we go. 4 Skinny Trees. Hold on, I got so many boxes in the way I can't see my reading. Oh. Here we go. 4 Skinny Trees. They are the only ones who understand me. I am the only one who understands them. 4 skinny trees with skinny necks and pointy elbows like mine. 4 who do not belong here, but are here. 4 raggedy excuses planted by the city. From our room, we can hear them, but Nenny just sleeps and doesn't appreciate these things. Their strength is their secret. They send ferocious roots beneath the ground. They grow up and they grow down and grab the earth between their hairy toes and bite the sky with violent teeth and never quit their anger. This is how they keep. Let one forget this reason for being. They'd all droop like tulips in a glass, each with their arms around the other. Keep, keep, keep. Trees say when I sleep. They teach. When I am too sad and too skinny to keep keeping, when I am a tiny thing against so many bricks, then it is I look at trees. When there is nothing left to look at on the street, for who grew despite concrete, for who reach and do not forget to reach, for the whose only reason is to be and be. So it sounds complicated, but basically what Sandra's doing is she's comparing herself to 4 skinny trees in the neighborhood. She sees herself as very skinny, as very weak, and same thing with the trees, but somehow the trees have some form of strength about them. They're able to keep surviving despite the neighborhood, despite growing out of the concrete sidewalk, despite folks looking at those trees and not really paying attention to them, they still keep going. So based on that short excerpt from House on Mango Street, and we were going to write our response to a literature piece, what would be the tag for this particular piece? And I'm going to call on, I don't remember who's there, Emmanuel. What would be the tag that you would write here?
The tag, miss?
Yeah, the topic sentence. Remember, I told you there's an acronym for how we write a topic sentence. It's the title, the author, and the genre that goes here. So what would be the tag that you would put here based on the reading I just gave? What would be written there?
Let me see.
What's the title? Because I'm looking at time. What's the title?
For skinny.
Four
time.
skinny trees.
All right, who's the author?
By
I told you it's the same author that wrote.
Sandra.
Sandra Cisneros.
And what's the genre? Said it. Same genre it was before. What
A
is it?
memoir.
Flashback.
Thank you. Guys, I need us to move a little bit faster because I think this is pretty basic, right?
My brain is educated.
All right. What's the literary device here? We said we're looking at conflict. So I need you to tell me what type of conflict she's going through. And I'm going to ask Ajay Fatu to tell me.
Character versus self.
Very good. And what is the specific struggle she's having?
That she's too skinny, comparing herself with the
Right.
tree. Like,
So beyond being skinny, she sees herself as weak, right?
yes.
Yeah. So you want to be as specific as possible when you talk about the struggle. Yeah. And she's trying to figure out, or she's trying to be like the trees in what way? What is she learning from the trees? What lesson is she trying to learn from the trees?
But they still got strength.
Very good. And they keep going. Very good. And then ultimately, what would be your central idea? What was the story about?
How she didn't accept who she was, and she wanted to change it and be like the tree.
Exactly.
She wanted
You
to
have to accept who you are. We all have our strengths. You know, don't underestimate someone. Like all these come from the message she's trying to portray. We got that? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on. And here is a sample. The particular person literary device of metaphor when you have more than one meaning. For us, our literary device we're focusing on is the conflict. Their essential idea at the end of it was it's okay to not fit in, which is similar to what we're talking about. Here they talk about tag. They use the word novella, which can also be another example of a memoir, of a very short memoir. Oh, sorry. And then they write out the entire essential idea. In the novella, which is a tag, or in the memoir or short excerpt, House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros. So that's where the tag comes in. The writer uses metaphor. In our case, the writer goes through a conflict of self versus self, right? Or inner conflict. in order to help her develop good self-esteem, or to help her understand that you cannot never underestimate or to keep going. Are we making sense, guys? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Right. So when you fill out yours in your abstract sheet, you're going to put all of these pieces together to create that great introduction or that beginnings of an response to literature. Okay, we're not going to practice. We don't have time. It's time for feedback. Wait for your teacher. We're going to move past that. So that was a quick sample. We use another excerpt from Sandra Cisneros. We practice putting in the tag, practice putting in our central idea. We practice putting in our conflict. When you guys begin this assignment, which as you know, will have to be done over the weekend, you're going to be doing the same thing. So you're going to read the story once more, okay? And at the top, it gives you a preview of the novella / excerpt / memoir. Those who don't is an excerpt from a longer novella. In the novella or short novel, the 12-year-old narrator, Esperanza, describes what it was like growing up as a Chicana girl in her Chicago neighborhood. And that's what this particular vignette or novella was about. Take the notes on the conflict that she faced. Take the notes on the tag or topic sentence, and give me the central idea of what it is that she was trying to tell you. We all just did it in class. Then down at the bottom, you're now going to write it out. What was the topic sentence? Again, that's the tag. What was the context? What was going on? What was the the conflict that was going on? That's the context. What's the evidence? What quote can you find to back up that was the central idea? So I need you to find a line within here somewhere. Remember, we're not talking about the trees one, we're talking about those who don't. Top at the top, which line supports the conflict that you're going to discuss as the context. Then you're going to analyze, meaning you're going to tell me why this particular conflict was important. What is it that she needed to learn? And then you conclude the sentence. And when we get back here on Monday, we're going to look at the samples and we're going to discuss them and see how we can develop them. Again, I need you to get this done over the weekend. Please don't come in Monday and you have not done the assignment. Because if you notice, we don't have a lot of time. We're splitting our time between community word projects, so it gives us less time to get some work done. So we have to use the time wisely. Is that understood, guys?
Ms. Morris, good morning. Good morning. Does the community word work count on the grade too, right?
Yes, they'll be getting a grade for that. They will. But I wanted to be able to produce this literary abstract. So
Right.
time is of the essence in terms of how much time we get to spend on something. So if they don't do the assignment, it puts us back another day because now we have to do the assignment in class.
14 days left, yeah.
Exactly. So are we all in agreement, guys, that we're going to get this done over the weekend? Give me a thumbs up, a yes, verbally, because I can't see. What's the verdict? Everybody hearing me?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. Remember, and I'll go back to the classroom. There are two things you're going to submit for me. You're going to submit literary abstract sheet that we just looked at, and I'm adding the article, the News ELA article on the Capitol Hill riot. So you will see both assignments that need to be handed in. Matthew, how many pieces are we handing in? Can you hear me? Thank you. So Jesus, don't come to me Monday talking about you thought you had it in the second one because it was already in the basket. Yeah.
Whoa.
You're gonna make sure it's attacked,
Go
right?
on camera for that reaction.
I was the first one to get it done.
I'm messing with you, Jesus, because I know you can handle it.
Ms. Morris, don't forget you also added the News ELA.
Yeah, that's why I said it's two assignments. It's the News 5 handout and the News ELA. That's a two. The PowerPoint is just for the reference of what we just did. All right, folks. Happy Friday. I want you to enjoy your weekend, although I'm giving you homework. I want you to be safe, and I will see you guys back here on Monday. All righty? You have a good day. Ajifatu, as usual, you stay here.
If you guys need to review anything of what we did on our assignment, there's a video of the class there now.
Oh, that's what the live on YouTube is about, the whole
Yep.
class. Oh, nice, very nice. And that's accessible on the feed?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ms. Williams, can you end recording now? Because I made you host.
Yes,
I-
Mr. Wazowski, what happens is after he records it, I go in and look at it and find the minutes that adheres to the specific section, add it to the group of assignments under that section.
So you edit it?
Not edit, I just note it in the directions that
Okay.
minute so and so.